week's episode of Gundam Build Fighters Try is a big shot of nostalgia, which can be followed by a chaser of badassery. This was a fantastic episode of the series, and what I love most about it is it's similar to the first season where when they're beginning the next arc of the series, they're doing everything in their power to mix things up and get rid of the monotony, and that's what they did. There's a ton of brand new fresh faces in this episode, tons of new Gunpla, and the return of some fan-favorite characters from the first season, like Niels Nilsson and Tatsuya Yuki. It's pretty freaking incredible. So let's talk about the main story this week. Team Tri-Fighters is getting ready to go on summer vacation, and they're going to be doing some training before they go to the Nationals. And thanks to Mr. Rawl, he has a little bit of pull, and he actually knows Niels Nilsson very well, or actually Niels Yajima. Yes, Niels Nilsson and Caroline got married, and he's a part of their family now. It's absolutely ridiculous, but it leads to this really cool scene where both him and Rawl are hanging out, and I love the scene where they're hanging out in front of this like big holographic image on these walls that's right next to them. And what I really love about it is not only is it cool and futuristic, but every single time it switches from, like, say, a forest to a night setting, it actually complements the mood of the scene all the more. And basically, Rawl is just getting Niels' permission to bring his team in and do some training, which apparently is going to be pretty freaking hardcore, because everybody that goes to the Nielsen Labs is, like, people who've been in the tournament multiple times. They haven't won, but they definitely have the skills to pay the bills. And this is basically just an excuse to get some Gunpla battles and introduce some brand new characters. This brand new team they first introduced is called White Wolf, and they seem like they're going to be really awesome, and I love the fact that their team actually consists of, like, these souped-up variant versions of the Zakus, which I think look really awesome. In fact, I thought the leader of their team, his Zaku, which was all white and everything, looked really awesome, and we never even get to see it go into battle, and that's because they get completely defeated by the character of Ado Saga, who was secretly introduced in some of the previous episodes, and he finally shows off his Gundam, which I believe is known as The End. Gundam The End. And essentially it's like a more darker metal version of the Master Gundam from G Gundam, and it hasn't even revealed all of its powers yet. And I love the overall design of it because I can't, like, be reminded of anything else but the Master Gundam, if only for the fact that it has this big cloak and it has these massive claws on its side, which also have these big Gundam faces on the freaking palm side of them. It's really funny, and it leads to a lot of really cool scenes that bring to mind memories of all those weird snakehead Gundams from G Gundam. This thing literally looks like it was pulled from that universe, and it completely destroys Team White Wolf, and that's when suddenly Yuma realizes that this is the guy who actually defeated him years ago. So in a rage, he just jumps in, and I love the scene because, again, they're doing their best to sort of have, like, some tongue-in-cheek fun with this series where it almost seems like a real Gundam battle is happening where a pilot just appears out of nowhere, even though Yuma just walked up and activated his Gunpla and they don't show it. But it adds a lot of ridiculous drama to the scene, and he just goes crazy when he's fighting against him. And this is where we get to see some of the cool abilities of this brand new Gunpla, which it has these big claws which it can use to fire out those Gundam faces and lasers, but it also has this really cool looking revolver weapon, which literally just looks like a regular revolver gun, and that's just very different for Gundam. It's something that I've never really seen before, and just the overall look of this thing hanging out in the desert with this cape and this gun just gives off this Western vibe that is really freaking cool. It can also fire cluster missiles and fangs from its massive claws, which actually have the ability to assimilate together and become even more stronger, because eventually Yuma is defeated, and then the winning Gundam and Build Burning Gundam come in and try to help him out, and they all pretty much get their asses handed to them. It's a really intense scene. And one thing that's really keeping me on the edge of my seat is I'm waiting for the introduction of Sekai's master, who might be Domon Kashu, and there's a scene at the end of the episode where Ado Saga is about to finish off the Build Burning Gundam. He's powering up one more big face Gundam attack, when suddenly, like Mecha Jesus coming from the sky, is this brand new Gundam, which is known as the Gundam Amazing Red Warrior. And only one Gunpla battler always uses Amazing in his Gunpla titles, and that is Tatsuya Yuki, Meijin Kawaguchi, getting ready to kick some ass, and his new Gunpla looks amazing. It's a variant on the Perfect Gundam 3, and it just looks sexy as hell. That's all I can really say about it. Make sure to watch that post-credit scene where it is revealed that it is indeed Meijin Kawaguchi. And what's also really cool about the scene is a lot of the brand new characters are all watching and getting really excited. There's this group of 3 creepy twins, and this one guy who actually kind of, I almost thought, he looks more similar to what Yuma was fighting like in the past because he has longer hair, but this Ado Saga guy, he's insane. Like, he fights people year-round. He barely ever remembers them. He's just in it for the thrill of the battle, and I can't wait to see more of what his Gundam is going to do. It's maybe going to be very similar. Before it was like a composite Gundam, like underneath the cloak is all of these different parts and abilities which he can use, and all I know is that's going to make an amazing Gunpla when it actually does come out, and it's one that I actually wouldn't mind having. That's what I hate about this show. It just makes me want to go out and buy like every single Gundam model I can, but I just don't have the room for them. I just don't have the time to build them all. But still, it was awesome, just like this week's episode. So what's the rundown? On this week's episode of Gundam Build Fighters Try, it was great. I'm glad that they're finally starting a brand new arc of the series, and it's something different and new, and, you know, it was a surprising episode. I really thought this was basically going to be Team Tri-Fighters versus Team White Wolf, and it didn't happen at all. It was a nice shock when they ended up getting defeated, and then we see this brand new character who just ran over everybody, and the mecha design, like I said, for the Gundam the End just looked so freaking awesome, so intimidating and creepy, and just, I love that revolver. That thing is so awesome! It's so unique for that Gunpla as well, and seeing Tatsuya Yuki come in makes sense, considering that he's a part of Niels Nielsen's company, and he pretty much has free reign and can pretty much go wherever he wants. This episode is also important because they're also introducing a lot of new elements for this arc, like introducing the Gunpla Academy, the fact that they've won the national tournament for the last 6 years. They're just trying to make them seem like the ultimate opponent. I'm pretty sure Team Tri-Fighters is going to whip their ass. But still, there was a lot of teasing in this episode. There were a lot of scenes where they would show the Gunpla for the first time and not show the characters, and if you watch the previous seasons, you're like almost anticipating seeing the old characters, and it really messes with you a little bit. And that final scene at the end when you had the Gundam Amazing Red Warrior coming out of the sky, for a split second, my first thought was, is that going to be Domon Kashu? Is he suddenly going to appear out of nowhere? I am still, like, waiting for that character to appear, and I really hope they don't waste it. I really hope they do something cool with it, because the way they build it up in the intro just, you know, gives me a lot of hope for what they're going to do with him, because he's such an over-the-top character who belongs in the world of Gundam Build Fighters. So, fantastic episode, brand new arc is beginning, a lot of returning characters, lots of new ones, tons of brand new Gunpla which kick ass. Gundam Amazing Red Warrior. That's what defines this episode, and it was amazing. I have no complaints with this one. It was good old cheesy Gundam Build Fighters Try fun, and I'm going to give this week's episode a 5 out of 5. Check it out, fans of the series. It was just freaking fantastic. Thank you guys for watching my review. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And before you leave, please tell me what you thought about this week's episode of Gundam Build Fighters Try. Did you have a favorite scene from this week's episode? A favorite Gunpla? What do you want to see from the rest of the second season? Before you guys leave, please subscribe to our channel if you have not already. You can easily do that by clicking on the icon right up here. You guys can also follow us on Facebook and on Twitter.